Hi, friends. Well, still working on making friends with the webcam. It's not letting me use effects yet, and maybe I'll just have to give up trying to use the 2 megapixel setting. We'll see. This might be the last time I try to use it. Meanwhile, I have something so wonderful to share with you. And it's about the Occupy movement, Occupy Wall Street, and Occupy the World. I will put the main link that I'm going to talk about, as well as maybe another one or two. And this link, I did something with that I very seldom do, which is I sent it around to a very large part of my address book via email. It just lifts my spirits so. It's a war correspondent, someone who spent 20 years covering wars around the world, and it's what he thinks about Occupy Wall Street. And it's enough to really give us a good dose of hope as we look through this man's eyes, this one who has experience, who was there when the Berlin Wall fell, who's been around the world and seen such movements of this, covering wars. He was a war correspondent. And so, and it's a good interview too. The questions that are asked are appropriate to bring forth things that I think we all want to hear. Now, we've heard of critical mass. We've heard of the 100th monkey effect, which, there's some scientific doubts around that I think are legitimate. But all the same, even if we don't understand it, it has been observed that it's just the fractal nature of things. My friend, if you don't know what fractal means, please go look it up. I want you to see an image of a fractal and see how everything is connected, how infinite it is, and how the least little change anywhere migrates through the whole instantly in real time. The fractal demonstrates the now being simultaneous and the where being just here. Okay? And so, as we see ourselves that way, as we see the as above, so below connection in its operation, we don't need to understand how that works. Frankly, it doesn't matter. It's just a mind thing. Seeing it, that matters. That's important because seeing is doing. Seeing links us up with what we already know. And a lot of times, it isn't until something is presented to us that things click for us. And so, what I would dearly love to get across today and to share with you is that your attitude counts. What you think of this movement, those aren't private thoughts, my friend. Those morph the whole. You have an effect, and so do I, and so does everyone. It's intense, it's immediate, it's now. And this is, I would like to say, further evidence of the power of now and the power of one being to change the whole. And what we have happening is a critical mass. This correspondent feels it's been reached and that there's no going back and that this movement cannot be co-opted. And we need to see that and decide if we want to choose that as a belief to hold, as a vision to hold. As we hold this vision that this movement cannot be co-opted, that the light is too present to turn it to violence, to have it be taken over and the disinformers inserted. People worry because the president has come out in favor of this, I hear. Now, I haven't heard what he says. I don't watch the kind of media that would, I don't care about the mainstream media. But I'm with this correspondent. I want us to begin to take a new look at this. And when we see these guys coming in and being palsy, the Michael Moores, the President Obamas, and so on, let us not look at them as if they have so much infinite power that just their presence, just their acknowledgement and agreement means that, oh, it's their movement now. They've taken it over, so it's not worth anything because the president agrees with it. They don't have any more power than you give them. Do you feel the intensity I deliver this with? Open your heart and feel it. They have no more power than you and I will render to them. And we do this by our thoughts, by our beliefs, and by our attitude. Are we going to stay the perpetual victim? Obviously not. Okay? So let's lighten up. Let's lighten our load. Let's let a whole boatload of depression and sadness and futility and hopelessness and all of those kinds of things and fear that they try to get us into so that we can be controlled. Let you and I, right now, right this minute, let that go. That is not real. Can you look at it from heart and see its illusory nature? Let's choose our reality more carefully. Let's be aware of our thoughts. Thoughts create. Thought often enough, they turn into beliefs. Let's just become aware again. Once upon a time, we were awake. We were aware as a species. Okay? We have that in us. It hasn't gone anywhere. It is accessible now. It's what I call watch and observe. Being present is just another way to say the same thing. A lot of people are speaking out from here, there, and elsewhere, sharing their perspectives, but we're all saying the same thing. Don't you hear the same themes being repeated by people that have no outer connection with each other? We aren't studying one another's works and words and parroting anything. This is sincere. This is coming from center in each of us. We both share the same center and we don't. We have our perspective on the whole and we have the whole. And though these are different, we're beyond multidimensional, friends. Let's get out of the boxes that those who have been in charge for a time, I call them the powers that were. I didn't invent that. The first one I heard say it was David Wilcock. And I'm not totally enamored of everything that guy says. I think in some ways some of his sources aren't as pure as he thinks they are. But that's neither here nor there. Each heart will sort and weed through the patch of the garden, the piece of the garden that's before them. Each of us is important, vitally, critically important. I want you to look at yourself as though your thoughts count. I hope by now you know that your vibration counts. The overall essence of your being radiates out a sort of a sound, a harmonic. And for some people, their harmonic is chaos. Those of us that are waking up are coming into the harmonious whole. We're finding our center. But just by our awareness at any one moment, and this doesn't mean what's in your conscious mind. Remember, that's but the smallest aspect of who and what you are. Okay? You have an overall keynote, a harmony, a melody that is yours, that is unique. And it feeds out into the whole, literally into the cosmos, not just this universe even, into the whole of creation. Your being sings its song, its sound, its resonance, its frequency, vibration, energy. Okay, come at this any way that you will. Science will get to it eventually. Science on other worlds is already there. Okay? The beings from Andromeda, according to Alex Collier, as they travel the wavelengths, the galaxies, the solar systems, and so on, they make recordings. They are able to capture the sound of the planets, of the suns, of the spaces, of the beings. They make recordings of it. Interestingly, they don't compose music, original music, the way humanity does, like a Beethoven, pulling it from the air, from the ether, original. But what they do is they take these sacred sounds that are being emitted and they interweave them and they work with them. Those are the notes that they use to compose their music, which I'm sure is simply fantastic. And oh my gosh, can you imagine how listening to that would connect you with what you're listening to? Oh my God, it must be such a rush, such a high. I get high just thinking of it. But anyway, your note, your song is critically important now. I hope you're moving along towards tuning out from the mainstream media because they will just keep you, number one, as a consumer, and number two, in anxiety and fear, depression, and that. Okay? That's a real, you have to step out of it. And I would say if you do a fast, if you do a media fast for 30 days, and the best way to do it is the whole TV entirely, not just the news. All of it. Don't listen to a commercial. Don't listen to anything for 30 days. When you go back on the 31st day and turn it on, you're in for a surprise. It won't sound the same anymore. You've been cleansed of it to a certain extent. You've been dehypnotized because it requires the daily dose to keep us drugged. And that's why it's so easy to step out of it. It really is. I mean, while you're in it, it doesn't seem easy. We seem addicted to it. Well, that's part of the hypnosis. You need this is probably being beamed, an infrasound or something, whatever. I don't know and I don't care too much how they do it. I know that there are beings that are called to research into that kind of thing, and they will do the work. Their heart calls them to that. They are driven. It is their joy to pursue that. You see, this is why it's so important to follow your own heart. We do not all need to reinvent the wheel. We share. That's the beauty of the internet, where each one follows heart and then comes online to say, hey, Look what I found. What do you think? And presents it. Okay. Oh, I'm so joy-filled. I dearly hope this is coming through. And if you don't feel it, I suggest you go back, center, and listen again because it's there. We are one in this, my friends. Let's see ourselves in the fractal image. Let's see ourselves connected that way because you know what? We are. Hey, I'm coming back with a little detail that I wanted to share with you and forgot about in my heart's glee. And that is concerning these videos and concerning the lighting. Right now, I have no lights on at all. This is natural light coming through the large picture window. When you see the recordings that I make at night, I'm using candlelight. Actually, it's oil lamps. Casey one on her channel just made a comment that that's what she was doing. She wasn't using artificial light. Now, she's a yoga teacher and she's got a really intense practice and all that, and that's not my thing. But I'm trying this out, and so I'm burning oil at night and lighting candles, and during the day, not turning lights on unless absolutely necessary. So I just wanted to share with you that if you see a difference in the lighting and all of that, it is there, and that is why. All my heart's love to you, to each and every one of you, other aspects of me. Blessings.